Alright, this is going to be a how to close in the shackle hole if you move your shackles forward. How to video. Closing in that right there and making it look nice. Alrighty, let's get started. This is as close as I can put it, so I don't, because I'm going to be burning in the plate that I used to drill out this hole. And that's close enough, if you can understand, and plus I'm going to be running my grinder. So I don't need to grenade my sound, if that helps. And then at the end I'll probably briefly explain my welder. Bear with me, moving around. The gloves. So, how we're gonna start this is, you see this wheel, this grinding, this isn't the grinding wheel. We're gonna use that to knock down my existing grinds, marks on it, they look kind of nasty, and wipe the paint off, because it's not really good to have paint on your, while you're trying to weld. Everybody knows that. So we're gonna get started here. The reason why I'm hitting that bottom is because my ground for my welder's got to go somewhere nice and clean. So clean metal works the best. See how well this works. Okay, kind of got those stuck on that rag. No, these shocks aren't bolted up. If anybody was wondering, that's gonna actually view this. Okay, there we go. There we go. Obviously, this is one of the ones that I said the pilot hole jumped on me, and I had to freehand it in one of my shorts. So if you understand that, the hole saw probably works best over a plasma cutter. I don't recommend putting strong amounts of heat on these frames. If you can understand that, I gotta actually explain that because people don't understand that. The reason why these frames were riveted from GM is because the steel wasn't intended to be welded, and in the 80s they had welders, if you can understand what I mean. So why, you ask yourself, why didn't they weld it in the first place? Well, if you put excessive amount of heat, I should say, like on my steering box frame, because I got the frame repair kit on it, it was never cracked. I just put it on there because I have crossover steering. And some people will weld that plate all the way around. Well, at the same time, you're kicking yourself in the ass, because by doing that, you put excessive amount of heat on that frame. It could still crack even with, and I've seen pictures, they're out on Google of people that actually welded that plate on and it didn't work at all. So you're gonna end up having to put either a different frame under your truck when it does that, or starting over again and welding a plate on there, or putting a whole nother side of the frame rail. That's what I would recommend, is getting a whole nother frame, cutting that side of the frame rail in, or even doing what Fab Rats did with his wrecker he's building and just completely rebuild the whole entire front frame rail, both sides all together, and box them in and call it a day, because that would probably be the easiest way of doing it. So I do watch other YouTubers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wipe this paint off this, clean up those edges and everything with this grinder here, and you won't see me do it because I literally got to hold it with a pair of pliers to do it, because it's such a small piece and I ain't got no fab shop. So if you understand how I got to actually do it, just bear with me. Can't hold and spin that little piece and grind at the same time. Okay, see? See? that wheel works amazing. If you know what I mean. A lot of people don't understand what they're for, but that works well for cleaning up all kinds of different stuff. I will probably use that. And I do have a little bit of paint right here on this edge that I can't get, but that's what my rag is for. If it does start catching on fire, I'm gonna have to use that rag to stop it, because we're gonna be burning it in, and I believe this is like a quarter. It's gonna max out my welder, and I'm gonna explain when I get welding, because I gotta tack this first before I do anything, of how you can weld on these frames, how you're actually supposed to weld on these frames, and people don't understand that. So, for example, like I'm gonna tell you right now, don't continuously weld just to get the job done fast on these frames. Weld a little bit, take a break. This is how you do it. Weld a little bit, take a break, let it cool a little bit, weld again, take a break, then weld again. That's the process you're gonna follow, okay? Damn welding helmet's in the way. Okay, we want this facing this way. Anyway. We might have to adjust the welder. I think I got it where I need it. So we're going to try with the screwdriver with that pilot hole, holding that in place. Okay. So we're going to have to be putting a lot of weld on that. So however we get this tacked. I'm literally going to have to build it up. She's jumping on me. Way too far away from it. Put this down. If we get to closer, because it's going to be a lot of weld, it looks like. I might just build it up real quick, just so it's not so much of a gap. fire a little bit. Now, a little harder to do. And keep in mind, this is flux core, so I gotta keep wiping it off with a wire brush so I can get better welds. Okay. See the burn mark on it now? You want to let that cool a little bit. So the whole goal there was to make it so I could tack this because it's a bit larger. The hole saw is deceiving when it comes to doing it on metal. See? Now we can tack that. So I literally gotta beat the screwdriver into it so I can hold it better. So that's my tack. Okay, I'm going to show you and then I'm going to stop you in so the video is not as long. Otherwise there might be two parts to this if it decides to kick itself out like it normally does. I'm going to show you what I just did, and when I'm done, I know people don't like that to happen. You want to see the whole shebang, right? But because of the extensive amount of welding I got to do and wait time, I don't have that amount of time of run time off of YouTube. So just understand. So I'm going to pause you, get my first roll of weld on it, because it might take about 2 or 3 hours to do it the way I said, because you weld, stop, or in easier terms, weld, take a break, let it cool down, and I already put excessive amount of heat in 2 spots already. Come back, weld a little bit, and it's probably going to be me filling. Plus I have gas lines on this side too. The other side, there ain't nothing there. So understand that part too. If I got to take my time with it, because you know what I mean, it's my truck, not your truck. Gotta have a joke there. But anyway, bear with me. When we pick it back up, I should have that all welded all the way around it. And then we'll work on this spot, filling that, this hole right here, filling that, fill that, and you know what I mean? It's like doing plug welds, but there's nothing behind it, so you gotta understand it'll take a little bit to fill those. And then exactly what I did before, knock that all down with the grinder, and then I'll make a short of the paint. In case you haven't heard, DIY4by.com has all your square body needs. They have shackle flips for multiple different makes, not every make, but your basic square body, 60s era, K5s, a lot of different K5 parts for modifications, big shackle eye hangers, crossover high steer, hydro assistance caps, that ram mount right there for high steer. They have low steer hydro assist mounts, hydro assistance cap, and of course flat 3/4 inch shackles. You can have custom made, powder coated, everything he sells you can have. All you gotta do is ask, and he will powder coat it for you. All of these steering arms are DIY4by. So if even the steering tie rod clamp, you gotta call that in to have him make it, or go check it out on the DIY4by page on Facebook or the Talk Tech page. We're on brake mode right now, so I got it partially burnt in. You can see how I started it, kind of like if you were doing a torque pattern. There. Yeah, not the prettiest of welds, because you seen me do the grind mark for my ground. It was actually, I had to move it up here because I was getting not so much ground in that location for some reason, probably because it was touching my exhaust. So now it's like close, but now she's working. We'll come back again when I burn that all the way in completely, and then I'll do the back side, but I won't be able to grind that down because I already tried to get my grinder in there, because I had to clean the paint off the inside, the upper part of the frame, and the low part of that part of the frame, just to get a good ground for my welder. There we have it. It's burned in. Like I said, if I had anti-splatter, I wouldn't have the splatter, and you're gonna see jumps on it because I had to lap over my existing, like I showed you just previously before. I had to lap over those welds to seal them all in correctly. You normally you wouldn't really have to do that, but to me, like if you're trying to seal in a tank, you don't want no pinholes in it. So this is it burned in. We ain't done yet, obviously. We'll be right back. There, after waiting for so long, we covered in that hole, which I really didn't need to do. But this hole, we covered in, which I really didn't need to do. That pilot hole, the gap for here, I filled that, closed it in. We're gonna knock that back down. And that bolt right there, because the drill hole had to be so close to the old existing drill hole, we filled it and welded the bolt in place. Like I said I was gonna do. I probably will not weld this side, just in case I want to remove these. I don't know if it's a good idea to even weld it on there. I still would have to grind all the way around it so I can get welding to penetration there, because that is some beefy ass DOM Kurt uses. And we're gonna come back after I clean this all up and you'll see what I'm talking about. I might have to fill a couple spots because it might be on an angle, but you'll understand.